Your spirit cannot belong to this place at all. You gotta get away from this place, because this place is definitely not the place for us. This place has got to be taken out. It's got to be destroyed. Because if this place continues, let me tell you something, the world will never stand. The world will become like it is becoming, right? A place of nothing but destruction. You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand that the Lord's got to destroy this place. Man, we can't destroy this place, because America, let me tell you, America, they're given, what is the gift of Esau? What is that? The sword, right? The sword is the gift of Esau. Like the Lord bless Esau with the sword to kill. That's what he's given. He's given the power to kill. That's what the Bible tells us. That's his gift. You know, our gift was the 12 tribes. We have all different gifts. Their gift is one of violence and murder and death. You know what I'm saying? And destruction. And it's apparent when you start looking at what's going on and how America is today. You know, that's the way it's always been. There's nothing new under the sun. America's always been like that since the day they stepped foot here. When Christopher Columbus landed on the island of Puerto Rico, you know, he had no mercy for the natives, the Arawak, right? They had no mercy for them. He nearly wiped them out. You know what I mean? He nearly wiped them out. Why? Because he was he's violent. That's the way Esau is, a violent man, a destructive man. You know what I'm saying? This is the problem with them. So us, what do we have to do? We have to learn to stay away from them. Go ahead.
So this is Genesis chapter 27 and verse 40. And by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off his neck. I'll read it again.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Genesis chapter 27 and verse 40. And by the sword shalt thou live. That's it right there.
Man, and so by the sword, the Bible tells us, by the sword shall you live. America has lived by the sword. The way America became great was through the destruction of Black, Hispanic, and Native American. Let me tell you, America wouldn't have been great if the cotton fields wouldn't have came to be. America wouldn't have been great if the Native American Indian land would not have been taken.
Right.
America would not have been great if the Mexican did not pick the fruit of this place. America would not have been great. It would have became nothing if not for these people. Go ahead.
Come on, sir. This is verse 41. Genesis chapter 27, verse 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob.
So Esau, from the very beginning, hated Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. Isn't that what it says?
Come on, sir.
Esau hated Jacob. This is a hate, a perpetual hate that has gone on throughout every single century. Let me tell you something. To be Mexican American is to hate your own brother. That's the bottom line.
Right.
If when you become Mexican American, you're taught to hate your own brother. You know what I'm saying? And let me tell you, you got to understand why we need to separate from America. Why we need to come. You know what? Where our nation should be Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians. We need to have a nation. We need to be together. We need to learn to work together, to be together. You know, it doesn't matter what you do. Like, we're normal people. We're going to go out. We're going to have a drink. We're going to eat. We're going to go party. We're going to do the things we do. But we're going to do them recognizing that our people are separate from these people.
Right.
We're going to do these things recognizing that even though I have to live in America, I don't have to be part of America.
Damn right.
We got to understand that no matter what we do in this place, man, you're not going to be locked up, right? You ain't going to be a person who's going to be in the home all the time, or who doesn't know how to go out and enjoy life. No, you're not going to be that kind of person, because let me tell you something. One thing about Jacob, man, one thing we have, Mexicans, Blacks, and Native American Indians, is that we're party people.
Right.
You know, that's a guarantee that Mexican people are party people.
Right.
When you go and you drive by a Mexican neighborhood and you're hearing the music bumping and the carnes asadas and the parties and all that, is because that's the way we are. And you go into the black neighborhood and it's the same thing. These our brothers are the same as us. The Native American Indian, just like us. When they had those powwows and their dances and all that, their what were the rain dances and all these dances, they're enjoying life. You know, they live life. You know what I'm saying?
I could, sir.
Go ahead.
Interrupt, but just to interject something. I remember when I was down there in Long Beach, right? It was me, Lahab, and a few other brothers, and you know, I guess in Long Beach is different. We went to downtown or wherever the clubs are. We went, and there's a spot where it's all Issachar and Judah, and they're all in on this whole block, right? Having a party, clubbing. They got it going on. The music's bumping. Everything is going great. And then we went down the street where all the Edomites were, and it was dry. Right. The music wasn't good. we would look in there. They wouldn't be dancing. They would just be standing there. But music would be playing. The streets were empty. And then we went back to Israel. Everybody's in the streets. Females is dancing in the club. Brothers is laughing, having a great time. And then over there is dry. So just touching your point, sir, we are a more social people. You know, right. We socialize a lot more. We enjoy. You know, that's who we are.
Right. We're very social people, man. We're like I know. Speaking about me, like I'm a very social person, man. I love to go out, man. When they say we're having a high holy day, I don't miss a high holy day ever. Like I'm gonna be there. You know, I'm gonna take my food. I'm gonna take my drink. Because they're saying there's a party, and I'm saying I'm going. I'm taking my whole family with me because we love to have a good time. The Passover, they say Passover's coming up. I'm like, oh man, of course I'm going to Passover. You know what I mean? You know, when we can make it out to, if I can make it out to everybody's cookout, I would definitely go to everybody's cookout. Right. Unfortunately, we live in an America that doesn't see our days as important days. They see their days as important days. But regardless, we're going to do what we do. And that's the kind of people that we are. We can never be like our counterpart. So why should we call ourselves like our counterpart? How can we call ourselves Mexican Americans when we don't carry the culture that these people carry? Our culture is completely different. Right. You know, they complain about our culture. Right. You guys are too loud. Right. Your music is too crazy, right?
You have too many kids.
You have too many kids. The way you dress is not right. Why is your car lowered like that? Why does your car make so much noise? Why do you have a muffler like that? You know, why are your windows tinted? You know, these are the kind of questions that they ask. You know, why do you like that? Now we like dressing in fringes, the headbands, right. And now they look at you and they're like, why are you dressed like that? Yeah. You know, why do you look like that? They're always. You're never gonna be able to satisfy these people. They're always gonna be looking at you and looking at why you're this and why you're that. I seen a video today of a woman on a train, and she was listening to music on her headphones, and the white lady next to her told her, your music is too loud. Right. And she got into an argument with her because her music was too loud. Now come on, man, you're listening to them in headphones, but even that little sound bothers them. You know what I mean?
No, so like, sir, I don't know if you saw that video online of that Edomite at that Walmart going off, you know, like he went off on one of the workers because she didn't speak English or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Then he brought up Esau being the devil that he is. But this devil goes about trying to make it seem like Mexicans were responsible for 9/11 because he was a retired firefighter or something like that.
Right.
But yeah,
right.
Man, the videos out on the internet.
America will always blame us for everything. We're the blame for everything that comes to America. Anything that happens, we're the blame. And you know what? We're not the reason. America is the reason. They're the reasons why we're the way we are. They're the first ones to bring diseases to this place. We didn't have diseases. They brought diseases. You know what I'm saying? They're the ones who bring this. They're the ones who destructively, you know, came here in a manner to wipe us out. You know what I'm saying? You know, we start looking at history now. The beauty of it is that they themselves wrote the history of their own destruction. You know what I mean? Like when we look at history, you start to realize who the devil really is, as we say in the UPK. You know, we know who the devil is, not because we say, but because history tells us who this man is and the atrocities that he's committed. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go into the story of our Native American Indian brothers, because it's important to know, you know, that we're all in this together. You know, the Mexican, the black, the Native American Indian, man, we're all in this together. We're all suffering from the same thing. And to call yourself Native American Indian, man, that's just not the word. To call yourself Mexican American, once again, that's just not the word. You know, I push the issue every week. I'm going to continue saying we can never be Mexican American. We can never be Black American. We can never be Native American Indian, because to use that term, Mexican American or Native American or anything that has to do with American, when you're Black, Hispanic, or Native American Indian, man, that is the most destructive thing that you can say. That's a psychological attack on your kids, on your family, and on yourself, and on your people, to say I'm Mexican American. You know what I'm saying? And let me tell you something. I deal with a lot of Mexican American people. Like I'm surrounded. Like, I deal with them all the time, because those are my people. Even though it's a love-hate relationship, right? I hate them because of the way they think, but I love them because they're my people. You know what I'm saying? A love-hate relationship with them. You know, America has found ways to destroy our people. They have found ways to put us in a position where we no longer have control of how we think or how we are or what we do. You know, it's absolutely true that America is teaching us how we're gonna be, and it's really not us, because, you know, we're already grown up. You know, all the brothers and sisters, we all have families. But what about our children? Right. Remember, it's in a week. I don't know how many brothers and sisters out there already, but in a week or so, our children are about to go back to school. The schools are opening up in California, and our kids are going to go back to school, and they're going to go back to be educated with lies. Right. And they're going to go back to be educated with new how can I say, curriculums that have nothing to do with education. You know, not with math, not with English, not with a moral right of how to grow up. They're going to educate your children with these new sexual ideas of what is that, of homosexuality, transgender. Right. It's on the agenda. Right. You know what I'm saying? This is on the agenda. This is what we're going to be dealing with. We're going to be dealing with this at the schools. And then if your kids don't go to school, well, you know, they passed that law. They can go down to your house and take your kids. Right. Because your kids aren't going to school. And you're going to complain that, well, I don't want my kid to get a homosexual education. And then they're going to be, you're homophobic. Right. You're racist. You know? So it's a lose-lose situation where they already have a plan in place where you're really not going to be able to do anything, because you're going to be forced to allow your children to be educated in this manner.
If I could, sir, of course, if you're in the Israelite school UPK, if you join us, you will be able to do something about it. Now, not to go against what you're saying, sir, you know what I'm saying, but I just want to jump in and just mention that, because in the ISUPK, we have the truth of the Bible, and the truth of the Bible will allow you to really raise your child correctly. And not only that, but you'll be able to teach him who he really is. And by doing that, he won't fall into the ditch of the lies of America. You know, he'll know that homosexuality is wrong. He'll know, your daughter will know that pedophilia is wrong, that she can't think that she's a boy or desire to be a boy. Why? Because you as the parent, you're going to know the truth. And by knowing that, you're going to be able to teach your child, and that's going to be a defense against, you know, America's agenda for the mind of your little child. So if you come to the ISUPK, you will absolutely be safe. You understand? You'll be safe from all that damn evil that America is pushing on our kids.
Of course. And we know that when you're in the UPK, we know that right here, that's the reason why we do this. That's the reason for this class. That's the reason for the UPK, is to help establish a moral foundation for all our children. You know what I'm saying? But when your kids go to school, they won't be able to avoid what's going on in the school. That's a given. They're going to be confronted with what's happening in the schools. What we're here to do is, of course, like we say, you know, to re-educate, right? Decolonize the mind and free yourself from what's about to happen. And how are your kids going to be freed? How your kids going to decolonize their mind? Very simple. Education.
Right.
And that's what these classes are for. These classes are to educate. When you go on to any one of our classes, ISUPK classes, whether it be Commanding General Johanna, Captain Gadolhar, any of the brothers, no matter where they're at, no matter who it is, we've been educated in telling the truth. And we've been educated in separating ourselves from a nation that is pushing the issue to destroy our children. And the way they're doing it is by educating them in the worst ways possible. And let me tell you something. You know how you know it's going to work? Because all of us were educated by America in the worst way possible.
Right.
We all grew up making the missions at school. We all grew up believing Christopher Columbus was really the discoverer of America. We all grew up thinking we were Mexican American, Black American, Native American Indian.
Right.
We all grew up in these lies.
Right.
We all grew up thinking America was the greatest nation on the face of the earth, and that there was freedom, and that Martin Luther King was the greatest thing that happened to black people.
Right.
And that Cesar Chavez helped all Mexicans. You know what I'm saying? And we all thought this was the truth. We were brought up with this education, and we fell in and believed it.
Right.
Your children are going to grow up going to school, being educated in a manner that they're going to believe it.
It's going to be worse.
Yeah, it's going to be worse.
They're going to end up standing up for the LGBTQ.
Absolutely.
Like General Muhammad brought out a heavy point. He said that a rainbow to a child is something that they like. You know, a child likes a rainbow.
Right.
And now they have the rainbow as a symbol for homosexuality. So now a child's going to see the rainbow, and he's gonna naturally accept that lifestyle. So it's like it's even worse now.
Right. It's a subliminal attack on the mind of our children. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. It's a subliminal attack on the minds of our children. And America is an expert at subliminally destroying us by posting and doing things that make us, fall into their lies and their deception.
Right.
America's a deceiving country. That's what it really is. And we're being deceived. We were deceived. Let me say this. We were deceived throughout all our lives. And our children are about to start the second part of this deception. You know what I'm saying? And when I say they're about to start, is because, like I mentioned, a lot of our kids are about to embark in going to school. America's about to start the school. A lot of places have already started. I'm talking about California. We're about to start. The school season's about to start, and they want all the kids to go back to school. And the education, they've had a whole year of planning how they're going to educate our children.
Right.
They had a whole year to plan, a whole year to stay indoors and get on the computer and talk to each other and plan what they're going to do to educate our children. And the LGBT has a big part in educating our kids. So, a lot of people don't want to, they tune in and tune out of our classes, but what you're really tuning out of is common sense and moral stability when it comes to our children and our kids. Go ahead, Oscar Warren.
So I just want to bring out a precept for you, sir.
Go ahead.
Touching on the point. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 3 and verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways.
Man, go ahead. You can go ahead.
Man, so, the Lord says it. The Lord says not to envy the oppressor. You understand? We also read the precept earlier where it says, come out of her, my people, that, so that you won't so that you won't be partakers of her plagues. You understand? We have to come out of America so that when the Lord plagues America, we won't die with America. And that, and if I could, that's what's happening with the coronavirus. The coronavirus, the Lord sent the coronavirus to kill, to destroy the people who are killing and destroying His people. But because we're still with America, we're being destroyed along with America. But we should do what the Lord says, and we should not envy the oppressor. Because why do we join America? Because we envy America. We want to be like America. We believe the American dream. You understand? So we choose their ways. we think their ways are going to benefit us when we've done that for what, over 400 years, sir?
Right.
Along with the so-called Negroes in America, American Indians, we chose their ways. We've accepted their ways, their ideology, even though they forced it. After that, we do it willingly, and we're still not appreciated. We're still oppressed. So now what do we got to do? We have to choose the Lord's way. We have to come back to our power.
Right.
We have to do we have to do what He tells us to do, because we tried everything already. It doesn't work. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Absolutely. We've tried everything. We you know, it was 1965 when blacks and Hispanics and Puerto Ricans and Native American Indians got together to ask for equal rights, social justice. You know what I'm saying? They were out there marching because they decided, well, we've had enough of this oppression that America puts on us. So black, Hispanics, Native American Indians, Puerto Rican movement, you know, Chicano movement, we all got together. Everybody lifted up and said, you know what, we're gonna go out and we're about to stop this. And they got serious and they marched and they did their thing, but America only gave them crumbs when it came to understanding what was going on. They let go of a little bit of rope. In Mexico, they say they let go of a little bit of rope, so you don't choke, you know. But they still got a hold on you, you know. And now this time around, this is not only for us, but it's for the generations to come. This is another uplift. This is another time to get together. It's another time to rise up. This is a time when you need to consider getting together with brothers like us,
right?
You know, and doing this work, man. We go out on the street because you know what? You know, you see a lot of brothers. Oh man, you guys are crazy going out on the streets and in the camp. Where else are you gonna speak this? Well, you think they're gonna let you speak it on radio, on TV?
Right.
You think they're gonna let you speak it at the schools? Do you think they're gonna allow you to go say the things that we say here today? They're gonna allow you to say it where? You know, you're on the internet, you all your friends are all Israelites. They already know what's going on. When do you speak to the general public?
Right.
When do you speak to people who don't know this truth? When do you go and speak these words to the people who are necessary, those that need to hear this, those who also have children? Go ahead.
So like, Sir Father, I just want to add this, man. We want to, you know, fight for equality and want to march and, you know, practically beg for mercy from the oppressor, man.
God.
But has anyone ever stopped to wonder, what do you think the oppressor would do if the shoe was on the other foot? You think the so-called white man, if they were going through what we go through, you think they're going to go out there and march for equality? You think they're going to go out there and say, you know, let's end racism, let's end hatred?
Right.
Hell no, man. You know what those Edomites are going to do, man? They're going to go pick up arms and be ready to go to war, man.
Absolutely.
That's what they demonstrated on January 6th. When they lost the vote, man.
Right,
when they lost the freaking vote, they were ready to go, you know, start another civil war.
Right.
These oppressors, man, when you tell them they can't enter a store if they don't put a mask on, they go ape crazy, man.
Right.
So that should let, you know, not to say that I'm inciting that we go pick up arms and go fight, but it's just to show the spirit of this oppressor, man.
Right.
And to show the reality, man. We over here trying to, you know, beg for equality, man. This oppressor doesn't want equality, man. They want freedom. They want that freedom. They gonna take, you know, they gonna fight for their rights, man.
Right.
And we over here trying to, you know, beg these people to give us rights.
Right. You know, no matter what you do, America will never listen.
Right.
They don't see the things that happen to black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. To them, we're just the extra here. We're the loose slack here. We're not important. But let me tell you something, man. We've always, man, you know, like, I don't consider myself Mexican American, but I know my people have always been for America.
Right.
Like, we've always been for America. Man, let me tell you something. When America needed a hand, Mexicans, Native American Indians, blacks, we gave them a hand, and in return they gave us a fist. That's how America is.
Right.
When America needed you, you gave America a hand. You went and fought in their wars. You went and fought in their revolutions.
Right.
You went and raised a voice for them.
Right.
You voted for them. You voted for white people to have a white picket fence.
Right.
You died for them to have a white picket fence. You know, you go out there and do whatever you can to make them happy. But when are you going to be happy as a Black, Hispanic, or Native American Indian? When is your time going to be important? When is it going to be time for you? It'll never be time for you. America doesn't have a time for you. America doesn't ever think that you're going to have your day, your time. The only time it's your time is when they benefit. When you're a soccer player or a basketball player or a football player and they're getting all the cheers and the noise and the stadium is roaring, that's America's time when they give you a little moment in time. When they hear how good America is, that's the publicity. That's the publicity stunt that America has to show that black and white can get together, that Mexicans and whites can get together, is when sports are going good. And then they show the moment in time and sports to show that, oh, see, we can all get together. But in reality, that doesn't exist. That's just a publicity stunt to get them to make people think that everything is okay. Go ahead, Oscar One.
And that's absolutely true. And you made me remember something that General Muhammad brought out, and he was saying how the government is helping the LGBTQ because right now they're important. Right now they can benefit from the LGBTQ, so they're gonna uplift them and push their rights out. Right. And it makes me see clearly now why Joe Biden is helping, or trying to help or speaking on it, as far as helping our brothers and sisters at the border, them and their children, because Donald Trump did a horrible job with them. So now if he does a good job, if he makes it seem like he's doing something for them, it's gonna look good. He's gonna benefit from it because he knows he has to do that to show that he's better than Donald Trump, that the people who voted for him didn't do a terrible job and this and that. You know what I mean? So he's only doing it because it benefits him.
Absolutely.
So you're absolutely right about that. So these are some selfish devils we're dealing with right here.
Right. Absolutely. And let me tell you something. We seem to be mistaken thinking that America loves us. You know what I mean? Because my Boricua brothers, our Puerto Rican brothers, how much have they gone through? You know what I'm saying? And thinking that they're part of a nation that man has always hated them. The problem is that we lack education, we lack understanding of our history, and we know all the history of America, and we celebrate its history, its revolutions, its Memorial Days, its 4th of July's, but we never take a moment to understand our history. Right. And the reason why is because once you begin to learn your history, you begin to realize how horrible your history really was. Right. You know what I'm saying? How terrible history was for your people. The Boricuan people, the Puerto Rican people, I don't know how many of them know that, their people became guinea pigs during World War II when they tested napalm, the napalm gas on Puerto Rican people. The soldiers would be taken out to the jungle and they dropped napalm on them on purpose to see how their skin would react to napalm. And they became experimental rats for America. And it wasn't just a few hundred soldiers, it was thousands of soldiers. Only a few hundred were able to speak about it. But they don't speak about the thousands of soldiers that were taken to take on this experiment. Right. Just because they wanted to see how Puerto Rican people would react to napalm, to this gas. And then they tell you, well, you're half American and half Puerto Rican. And you can never be half. Right. Because if you'd have been half, they would have some kind of compassion for the goddamn half that's American. You know what I'm saying? The black brothers went through the same thing with the Tuskegee experiment. You know what I'm saying? They did the same thing to them. During a military test, what they tested them for was syphilis and gonorrhea. You know what I'm saying? And they went even further to test it on the people from Guatemala and El Salvador. People from Guatemala ended up being rats for the experiments of America. Right. America is a vicious nation. Right. These people are horrible. These people are when who makes the movies? Jewish people make movies, right? White people and Jewish make the movies. When they make these horror movies, they're really going back to their own history and being like, well, let's make a movie out of that. And then they'll make a movie out of that, but it's reality, it's true.
So like, go ahead. No, I would say, what would you call that? A caricature? It's a caricature of themselves. Like all them horror movies with them doing like mass killings and the alien invasions, where you know, you got another artillery force coming and taking over. Like,
Right.
it's just their own spirit that they're manifesting. In
Man,
absolutely,
If
absolutely.
I
Go
could,
ahead.
that's heavy. Like if you wanna understand and see what, you know, Columbus and all the Spaniards did, if you want to see what they did to us, go watch the movie Saw. Go watch Saw
Right.
1, 2, and 3.
Right.
That's
right.
what they did.
Right.
You want to get
Absolutely.
a visual sight, man. That's what they did. I'm telling you,
Concert.
They
they
are
did some horrible things.
right,
man.
right. America is a horror movie. You know, if you look at the
Right.
history of America, it truly is a horror movie. It's the horror movie that happened to Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans.
Concert.
That's what the horror movie really is. It's the actual atrocities that were committed on our people. And you know, we're not like, I'm not saying it to hate America. You know, man, I can't hate America. This is my land. This is occupied territory.
Right.
You know, this is northern Mexico.
Right.
I can't hate America because this land is my land. This is the seed of my ancestors. You know, when America said, feed me, us Mexicans planted the seed and America irrigated it with our blood.
Right.
That's what they did. When they said pick the fruit, we were the ones that were hanging on that tree. We became that fruit that hung on that tree. That's who we were. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened to our people. You know, I had this brother come against me because he says, you know, all of North America is Native American Indian territory, and Mexicans don't belong here. Well, there's an ignorant fact. You know what I'm saying? Because he's saying that we don't belong here. He's like, well, Native American Indians, you know, and then I started reminding him, brother, you know, America is split into two places. California was Mexican territory.
Right.
You know, Arizona was Mexican territory. Texas was Mexican territory. Nevada was Mexican territory. And then he comes to me and says, well, Mexico didn't exist back then. I said, what do you mean Mexico didn't exist back then? Mexico exists because the Mexica gave it the name.
Right.
Mexico. I go, this land has existed since the time of Tenochtitlan when the Mexica named this place after themselves.
Right.
They begin to realize that in the UPK, history is our number one thing here.
Right.
Like, we know our history. We know what we're talking about. You're not going to tell me what our, you know, the white man says that the people in Utah, in Arizona, in Colorado, in Arizona, spoke a language called Uto-Aztecan.
Right.
You've heard that? It's called Uto-Aztecan. So why is it called Uto-Aztecan? Well, because it comes from the Aztecs. It's Nahuatl, a derivative of Hebrew. So we all spoke the same language.
Right.
That's why when you look up, if you look up right now, Uto-Aztecan, right, in your Google search, it'll come up as a language that's given to, you know, pre-Columbian times, the natives of this land.
Right.
And we all spoke that language. But what they, you know, the history they want to hold on to is that American history. They want to hold on to that history that they can go out and have a barbecue to. They want to hold that history that they can go out and, you know, have fireworks to.
Right.
They want to celebrate. They want to be able to become Americanized. That's what happens when you become Americanized.
Right.
You have the right to celebrate their holidays.
Right. When
Go
you
ahead.
should,
Go ahead.
When you should be celebrating the holidays in the Bible.
Absolutely.
That's your culture.
Right.
You're out there celebrating Thanksgiving when it has to do with the murder of the people who were occupying this land with you before the white man came. You're
Right.
supposed to be celebrating the High Holy Day, the Feast of First Fruits. You know the you know all the other holidays in the Bible. Not holidays, but high holy days.
Right.
Holy days that the Lord gave us to
Right.
celebrate. And the heavier thing is those high holy days have to do with us, with our
Right.
history, the things we've been through with the Most High, and the things that He did for us to remember what He did for us. You celebrating Thanksgiving, you celebrating murder.
Right.
Right.
Not only murder, but the murder of your people.
Right.
The
Absolutely.
people who live in the same apartment as you. They live in
Right.
apartment number 5. You live in apartment number 2. Y'all both of y'all eating turkey.
Right.
You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
Yeah.
Both of y'all
Absolutely.
eating turkey while your forefathers in the damn dirt
Good night.
crying to the Most High.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Nah, I was gonna say, sir, like, you know, yeah, our people want to celebrate, you know, these holidays, right? Like 4th of July and all this. They want to try so hard to blend into American culture. Then you're wondering why, you know, you're right there stuck, not even knowing how to respond to a devil when he tells you, you know, tells you something for speaking Spanish.
Right.
Right.
When that devil's out there, berating you, you don't even know how to react. You think your response is you gotta win his love and let him know how much you love him.
Absolutely.
Because you want to love America.
Because we love white people.
Right.
Yeah.
We got like you said, sir. We grew up in America, and we're brainwashed, and then now we love America. We go instead of going for Mexico, we go for America.
Right.
Good night.
We grow up hating our own tongue. I know because when I grew up, I didn't want to speak Spanish. I was
Right.
ashamed to speak Spanish when I was in elementary.
Right.
When I was in elementary, I was ashamed to speak Spanish. Well, I didn't know why, but I know it was something subconsciously.
God.
Looking back now is because I was being raised in America. You understand? I would go to school, some way somehow I was looked down on, or I probably felt wrong for speaking or something. But I started to feel ashamed to speak Spanish when I was a kid, and I know if I felt like that, I know millions of Mexicans feel like that.
God.
Young kids who probably don't have a father. You understand? Right. So what happened? We start to love America. Like the brothers bringing out, we start to love America, love their culture. Now we want to be white, and now because we love America, we can't stand up to the damn white man when he gets in our face.
Right.
We don't know how to react.
Right.
Absolutely. And let me tell you something. What we need to do, and that's what we were talking about earlier, is that what we need to do is we need to stand up right now, because the next people or the next generation to be educated in hate is going to be our children.
Right.
They're going to be educated in true hate, and not only in hate for your what is that? Your ancestors, your culture, where you come from, but now even hate on being a man or a woman. You know what I mean? They're going to teach you how women are going to be taught to hate being a woman, and men are going to be taught to hate being a man. This is the kind of education. This is a twisted education. Like, even when it comes out of my mouth, it sounds twisted.
It sounds like they're trying to outcast race. The uproar of racial hate and all that, and they're gonna switch it to identity hate.
Identity.
And nobody's gonna really care about black hate, Hispanic hate, race hate. They might start caring about, well, why didn't you call her she?
Absolutely.
They're gonna be mad about that.
And let me tell you something, America is wicked, man.
Right.
And when you start to learn the history of America, is when you begin to realize how wicked America really is. Because once you start going back and educating yourself in the true history of America, then it becomes plain. That sight that you used to have, the way you used to think, it starts to change. You start to realize that, wait a minute, there is something going on. And the reason why you have never understood is because America has kept you busy with sports and with movies and entertainment, and not giving you a chance to read. The worst enemy of a nation is those that can read. And when you begin to read, you begin to realize, that you're being oppressed through stupidity.
Right.
You're being oppressed through ignorance, and you're being oppressed through not knowing who you really are.
Right.
And that oppression is so bad that you begin to pass it down to your children, to your people. And then you begin to argue with others about it. And you begin to realize that, when you start to study, you begin to realize that, something is wrong. And something has always been wrong. And that's why it's time that we start learning. You start to educate yourself. I know that a lot of the brothers that watch this show, man, week after week, man, I know our show is tight because we educate in a lot of old history. Right. And I always bring out every show, man, if you go back, every show, I always have something that most brothers always tell me, man, I didn't even know that. Right. I didn't know about that. Man, I'm glad you spoke about that, because I'd have never known about what happened to these Mexican people or these Native Indians, or some of the things I talk about. I think I was one of the first ones to bring out about the electric chair in the boarding schools. A lot of people didn't know about that, and I was one of the first months ago. I maybe last year I was like, what?
Years ago, sir.
Yeah, it was a while back that I bring out that I said, the electric chair was first introduced into the boarding schools of the Native American Indians for the use of making Native American Indian children stop speaking their native tongue.
And also, sir, for the pure amusement of the staff in those residential schools.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
For no reason at all, just because it amused them.
Just because it absolutely entertainment. Yeah, absolutely. Wicked. But you know, when we bring out things, it's important because you know these are the kind of education that you want to tell your children.
Right.
These are the kind of stories you want to tell your children. Like, you know, I'm going to tell everybody who's watching, you know, school's about to start. If your child is in the first grade to, I think it's 5th grade to 6th grade, they're going to make your child make a mission.
Right.
Because it's elementary. They make you do the mission. You know, if you were in my class about 2 weeks ago, you'll understand that make sure that when you make that mission, you make a ditch on the side of the mission. So when the teacher asks you what is that ditch on the side, you can say, well, that's where the priests and the Spaniards murdered the native Indians who didn't want to let go of their traditions, and they were executed right there and thrown in that ditch and then buried. Our bones of our people built this country, and we died because of their religious beliefs and their ways of life. You have to say?
Concert and shoot, I'm gonna have my son make it. You know, my daughter make a good mission.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna to bring it home and then so we could burn it.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna educate them on what the missions were about. But I wanted to bring out, man, like you were saying, sir. You know, they don't want us to educate ourselves.
Right.
You know, I got a precept right here, Micah 2:10. It says, "Arise, if I could, sir."
Go ahead.
You know, it says, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest." Now we can't do that if we're working all the time, slaving all the time, always busy with the bills, always busy with with issues here and there with our car and this and that.
Right.
You understand? We can't do that. That's why they want to open up the COVID. That's why they want to open up schools. They want to open things back up, get things running, because if they get things running, people can't say, well, I got fired. Now I'm on unemployment. What happens? Now we have free time. Now we can educate ourselves, you know, so and so, and now we can start to wake up. You see what I'm saying, sir? So yeah, man, that's why they want to get things rolling. And of course, you know, Commander Junior Hunter brings it out all the time, but it's just heavy, man. It's like that, you know, they need us to be slaves. It's like with Pharaoh, you know, when Pharaoh, you know, when the Pharaoh like, look, let us go praise our God, they were like, man, y'all not working hard enough. If y'all asking to get a break, you know, that's the same thing America's doing with us. They don't want us to get a break, because once we get a break, we're gonna start waking up. We're going to start reading. We're going to start educating ourselves, you know, of our history. You know, we're going to start coming out the damn grave. So that's why they're trying to open up these damn schools, especially these schools, man.
Absolutely. So we have to be aware, man, that, you know, this year is probably the most important thing. Before school opens, this got to be the most important class there is. All of our classes. Because we're going to prepare our children for go back to school. This is the back to school preparation for our children. Where we're going to teach our children and talk to our children, man, because now we got to talk straight. You know why we got to talk straight? Because they're going to talk straight. They're going to talk about homosexuality. They're going to talk about transgender. They're going to talk about things that at our house we don't talk about.
And there's going to be kids who are
and these are
like
kids,
that.
Absolutely.
Your kids are going to run to kids who, my cousins, who are gay.
Right, absolutely. Like when you were growing up, your mom was like, oh, don't, you know, they changed the channel when Benny Hill would come on.
Yeah.
You know, any kind of nudity or anything, they change the channel. You know, you don't want to watch. You don't want the kids to watch that shit. You know, any kind of bow, like, oh no, you don't want to be saying that at your house. At the house, it was like, oh, don't be saying no bad words. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Don't be watching no nudity. You know, women came out in nightgown or underwear. Oh, your mom be like, oh, change that shit, because your mom didn't want you watching any of that in front of everybody because it was embarrassing for her. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But now your children are about to go to school, and there is no limits to what is going to be taught, what they're going to see, what they're going to hear. You know, if you don't educate your children at home, someone's going to educate them at school. What is it, 8 hours of school? That's a whole day. Your kids are going to come back, and you know what kids come back to? To be locked up in their room. That's what they come back to. They come back to be on their phones, be on their computers, be locked up in their homes.
Not only that, so they got to come home and do homework.
If
you want your kids to go to college, You know, they gotta go what? Come home, not really pay attention and just do homework. Busy.
And let me tell you, college is even worse because your kids are gonna go to college and they're gonna think they know more than you. And the morals and the moral foundation of how you are is gonna change because they're gonna see you as you're just old. You know, you're just what is that? You're old fashioned. You know,
they're gonna be American, sir.
They're gonna be American, exactly. And so right now is the time. Right now is the perfect time. If you got young kids in your house, if you got teenage kids, right now is the perfect time for us Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians who are in the ISUPK to begin to learn to educate our children.
Damn
to
right.
get our children that they might be aware of the danger it is to mix into a culture that has no respect whatsoever for the Most High or God.
Right.
These people have no respect for our God, for our Bible, for our rules, for our law, statutes, and commandments.
Amen.
They have no respect for us. So we have to teach our children what it is to prepare yourself, because they're going into a world of man, just I don't even know what to call it.
I got a precept.
Because they can't call it sin because it's beyond that. Go ahead.
I'll read it again, sir. Micah 2:10. I'll read it again for you, sir. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted.
It is what?
Polluted.
It is polluted, man. America is polluted. This place is like the waters that run, the rivers that they dropped, radiation barrels from the Native American Indian land when they were testing during World War II. The United States would take all the waste from the nuclear sites. They put them in barrels, and instead of finding some way to dump them securely, they would go and dump them into the rivers of the Native American Indian. They would go and dump them into the land of the reservations of the Native American Indians. They put them on places where they knew that the Native American Indian would either die from it or their land would not prosper anymore because of the radiation poisoning that leaked from these barrels. Today you can go up to Oregon, Colorado, and places like this, and there's reservations that are off limits to humans because of radiation poisoning in the water and on the land. And this is what America did to them on purposely, knowing that these things would come to destroy them. You know what I'm saying? They had no compassion for them. Long after they did all they did to them, they continued to find ways of destroying the Native American Indian and his land and his water. Go ahead.
So, like, sir, if I could add to that, like, you also got to remember that a lot of these rivers and streams and whatnot have been polluted with oil because of these oil industries. You know, Esau's oil industries. That's why that whole thing was going down. You know, at Standing Rock, right, where they didn't want that pipeline built right there because they knew that if the white man built that pipeline, they were gonna pollute the river, man. And lo and behold, man, that's what happened. You know, like later on down the road, man. I was watching a Vice news story, right, and they brought out how, you know, like every time there's an oil spill, we think about like an oil tanker in the ocean, polluting the seas and whatnot. But no, majority of the oil spills that take place are on land. And it's taking place, you know, on our land, man, of our people, man. And they get polluted, man, with this oil.
Right, and a lot of people think, well, you know, that's a conspiracy theory with the corporations and things like that. But let me tell you something. America was the first corporation. America is a corporation. That's what America is. It's a corporation. And everything it does has corporate greed on it. When America the first corporation to start was the sugar plantations. That was Christopher Columbus' first voyage and first corporation started. He started the sugar plantation on the island of Cuba, what we know as Cuba today. And he used the native Mexican Indian or the native tribes to do the work on the plantations. Of course, slave labor. You do know this. And that sugar plantation made Spain rich. It's what enriched the Caucasians who were running Europe, the European governments, the European area. And right after the sugar plantations, what was the next thing that came into play? A next corporation. Well, when the natives decided we don't want to work for free, well, not even for free, we don't want to be slaves no more. And they began to run off and hide in the jungles and retaliate and start revolutions. Well, what did the Caucasian need to do? Talking about Spaniards, all of them in general. You know, what did they decide to do? Well, we need to bring workers from somewhere else. What was the next corporation was started? Was a transatlantic slave trade. Here is corporation number 2. They bring the transatlantic slave trade. They start trading blacks or Judites or what is it? Jacob, man.
Right.
Straight up. They're trading up Jacob. They're bringing blacks from Africa, especially from, what is that, Northern Africa? Or what was that?
West Africa?
The West Africa.
Right.
Bringing the people from West Africa as slaves to the Americas.
Right.
Why? To the first one, the plantations of the sugar. The second one, the cotton plantations. You know what I'm saying? And you think that would be the last of it, but that's not true. As you go on in the 1950s, they began to do the banana plantations. And now you're seeing that the people of Central America are now being enslaved for another corporation that once again America has developed. If you look, it's called the United Fruit Company was the biggest corporation right after the sugar plantation, right after the transatlantic, right after the cotton became the United Fruit Company. The United Fruit Company did what was known as the Banana Corporation in Central America, making billions of dollars off of slave labor and bringing the banana to America as a priceless fruit. Oh man, one of the greatest fruits of all time. Not everybody ate banana. You gotta understand this. It was only for the rich. Only the rich ate bananas. In those days, in the 40s and the 50s, it was like an exclusive fruit. And they would do commercials. They hired a corporation, hired advertisement agencies to make it look like, ooh, this was a great place. They'd show commercials of the island and the banana woman with the things on her head and nice music, making it seem like it was something pleasant. But in reality, it was a nightmare for the people of Central America. You know, what was his name? Salvador. Slipped my mind. Okay, well, I'll come back to him. But this man had to rise up in revolution against this corporation. I'm not going to say United States, against this corporation. I'm trying to think of this man's name, but anyways, he had to rise up his people in revolution against this corporation called the United Fruit Company. And what did America do? America started a war in Central America.
Right.
Because why? Because Central America chose not to work free labor for this corporation. And who has the upper hand? The corporations has the upper hand. Why? Because America is the corporation. And all these corporate entities run America. And they are what makes America run. America is a machine that's based on the natural resources of Latin America. We make this place. The coffee, the banana, the fruit, right? Our labor, right? The sugar, all from Latin America. And that's what made America great. The cotton, which the black man picked, the land, which is the Native American Indians, man, we're the ones who made America great. But does history teach you this? Of course not. That's why it's important that this kind of history is taught to our children, because this is the history that's going to make a difference when you start, man, your children, you may think that your children are not paying attention. But let me tell you, at a young age, I was taught these things. And I never thought that they would ever be of any use to me. But it seems like when I came into the UPK, all this that I learned in junior high school and high school, all of a sudden became so important to me, because now, like, why does it come off the top of my head? Because I remember this stuff. I remember studying this stuff. Salvador Allende, that's the man's name. Salvador Allende, which was the president of Central America, Guatemala, and Honduras. Salvador Allende had to raise his people up to fight against the oppression that the corporations of America were bringing onto the Central American people. You know what I'm saying? And so when you see these things, you start to realize, why the hell should I call myself Mexican American, Puerto Rican American, Cuban American, Salvadorian American? or anything that has to do with America, going back to the beginning of this program, why should we call ourselves anything that has to do with America?
Right.
When we've all suffered the same thing. My black brothers and sisters in America, man, we've been hating each other for years. We've been coming against each other. Man, forget those Mexicans. Forget them blacks. You know what I'm saying? Man, forget this, forget that. We've been going at each other's necks forever. And not realizing that if we would have known our history, we realized we have so much in common. Native American Indians, blacks, and Latinos, man, we have so much in common. We've been destroyed, oppressed, plagued by the same enemy, by the same oppressor. We've been taught to hate each other. We've been taught to come against each other. When in reality, we would have educated ourselves, we would have known that this is just a game and that we've been played.
Right.
We're at the end of the stick and they're poking us with it. We're the ones that, we're the laughing stock. We're the ones that, you know, I see still black man, forget the Mexicans. Forget Mexicans talking about forget the blacks. You know, Mexicans talking about forget the Salvadoranians. Right. You know, Mexican Americans, these Chicanos that they call themselves. I'm not even calling them Mexican Americans. This Chicano, the raza here, man, forget the Mexicans. You know, come on, man. What we need today is real education. What we need today is real understanding of who we are. We need the real history of our people in order to be able to fairly look at it and adjust ourselves to what is right. We need to look at our history, our past, and realize for ourselves, not for what they told us, but for ourselves, what is the logical way to go? What does common sense tell us? What is really going on that we should be looking at each other and instead of coming to war with each other, uniting? You know what I'm saying? Uniting and coming to terms with each other. Right. And saying, you know what? We all the same people. We are the same people. We all going through the same thing. We need to come together. Our children depend on us to make the right decisions now. You know what I'm saying? You understand?
Nah, sir. Also, like actually, Khan, sir. I don't know if you got time, but I'm getting towards the end. But I got a story touching on labor in the fields that has to do with today's times.
Absolutely, go ahead.
It's still happening today. This is from The Guardian. It says in the title, "We are not animals, we are human beings."
And let me tell you something, that's a good title.
This is a quote from a brother who works in the field.
This is a Mexican who works in the fields. And this Mexican brother, who is an obrero, right? A hands worker, a picker, says, we're not animals, we're human beings. This is the U.S. farm industry, because that's exactly how they've always treated us. They've always treated us as animals.
Right.
We are the animals. We're the mule. And it's perfect. Because didn't the Lord say we're an ass? Mexicans, we're like an ass. You know why we're an ass? Because we're hardworking people.
Right.
That's what we are. We strong laborers. Man, let me tell you something. I'll step up to the plate. At my job, I'm a strong hand. Right. Kazakh yad, right? I'm strong hands. My work, man, they count on me. Because they know that I pull that work like nobody else. I do the work of 2 of those white boys at work. 3 maybe. And they damn well know it. Like they know well that if I'm absent on a day, they're gonna have one hell of a day catching up to work. And I don't do it to get points, or I don't do it to look good in front of them. I don't do it because I want my manager to pat me on the back. I don't give a damn what they think. I do it because that's my normal day to me. That's the way I am. That's my roots. That's where I come from. My pops was a hard worker just like me. You know what I'm saying? So it's not to get an upper hand, or you know what? I've turned down supervisors and management positions more than once because I want my Saturdays. So I say, man, I don't want to take the responsibilities, because if I become a supervisor, you're gonna make me work Saturdays. Because I'm at the hands and what is that? At the mercy of whatever the job needs, I have to provide. I prefer to be a regular worker. Let me work, let me do my job, let me have my Saturdays. Go ahead, brother.
Come on, sir. Crews explained workers often will get too hot and vomit from drinking too much water too fast.
Damn.
But they face immense pressure to continue working through heat stress.
Wow.
He says,
wow, and it's a locket. Let me tell you why. You got to understand what this brother's saying. He's saying what? That he vomits from drinking too much water, right?
This came out July 16, by the way, this year.
And what does that say? Because of well, go ahead.
So crews explain workers often will get too hot,
right,
and vomit.
They work too hot and they vomit. Go ahead.
From drinking too much water.
Drinking too much water. Go ahead.
Too fast.
Too fast. What? Go on.
But they face immense pressure to continue working through heat stress.
They go through immense pressure to continue working through the heat. And you know why? Let me tell you why. Because my family on my wife's side, they work the fields in Watsonville. They're strawberry pickers, they're garlic pickers, and they're mushroom pickers. So they go through that. And let me tell you why. Because they get paid by how much they pick. So in one day, they have to go out there and pick as much as they can in order to make that money. Because they get paid by the bushel. They get paid by the box that they pick. So they work their ass as much as they can, as fast as they can, to be able to get through that whole field. Because they got, let me tell you, I go up there and I visit them, and it's like to where the eye can see the horizon of field sometimes. Now you drive by and you're driving by and the horizon ends and the field is still going out. And this is strawberries, this is berries, this is grapes, this is and the people that pick there, they get there at 5 o'clock in the morning and they pick all day because they get paid for how much they can pick. And why do they work that way? Because they want to make money.
Right.
Because they know they're going to go out there, they're going to work their ass off, and they're going to get paid top dollar, because they can make, in a week, they can make, $2,000, $1,800. My brother-in-law tells me, man, something I'm pulling out $1,800, $2,000 checks, but he's working his ass off to make that $1,800, $2,000, because he works, man, in this that they're talking about. That's exactly how he works. Go ahead.
He continues to say, it would be really good to have a broad rule, so when farm owners see that temperatures are way too high, they need to stop and allow people to rest. Things as they are right now, you can see you can see when it's really hot that by 1 or 2 in the afternoon, people just can't work anymore.
Right.
But there's this real pressure to keep working at it crews.
Right. And let me tell you something. See, because what they should do is they should pay these people by the hour. They should raise that picking to $15 an hour, because it's a job like any other job. Actually, this job is more than any other job, because this job is feeding America. This is the reason why white people eat. This is the reason why we all eat, because these brothers right here are out at 6 in the morning,
right,
picking, and they get there at 5 or 6 in the morning because they know that by 12 o'clock it's hot as hell out there.
right.
So they need to pick early in the morning to be able to stay away from the heat. But they obviously work past that time, and they work through the whole day. But you know what? They don't want to give them the hourly wage of $18, $19 an hour, $15, $16 an hour, because you're talking about, Driscoll's. I don't know. I know this, right? Driscoll's, right? You know Driscoll's. Driscoll's is a berry company. It's a top-notch berry company. Mm-hmm. It's like the white end berry company, Driscoll's. And Driscoll's, they don't want to pay their workers that. Driscoll's wants the worker to go out there and earn $5 an hour and all you can pick for that extra income. It's like getting a tip that you got to work really hard for in order to get paid. Go ahead.
Sirs, this is death of a worker. The state of Washington recently announced emergency rules to provide heat protection for farm workers and other outdoor workers shortly after Oregon issued emergency rules in the wake of a farm worker who died from heat exposure during record high temperatures in the region. Now I'm going to go back up to this brother. So Cruz continues. So it says, Cruz continues to say, but there's the real pressure to keep working and keep working, added Cruz. We're not animals, we're human beings. But there's this feeling that no matter what happens, even when people can't seem to work anymore, the bosses keep pushing and pushing. If I could, sir. So why did this brother die? Because it's the white man's fault, man.
Right.
Whoever owns that farm pushes these workers to work, even though it's hot, even though they drink water fast because it's hot and they throw it up, but they keep pushing them to work. Pick those berries, pick that mushroom, get it. And now what? Now a brother died.
Right. And let me add to that though. Let me add to that because I know that because it's a white man's fault, right? Absolutely. But sometimes our own people, because let me tell you, the foremans on the field are not white.
Okay.
The foremans on the field are Mexicans.
Just like back in the day, just like with our brothers, just like our Negro, just like our brothers.
Absolutely, the foremans on the fields are Mexican.
Right.
And the problem with those foremans is that the pressure that they apply on the workers is heavy.
Right.
They're talking about, and man, let me tell you something. I'm Mexican, bro. I know what it is. Mexican be like, no, brother, you're slow, bro.
Nice.
I'm gonna have to, man. I'm gonna have to replace you. This brother needs a job. If you're slow, bro, we can't. You're holding people up.
Tienes que ser muy machín, güey.
Ándale, hey, ¿sabes qué, güey? No la haces, güey. No la haces. You out there sweating, you out there dying, and this Mexican brother's like, bro, you just not cutting it. He sees that you're working your ass off. He knows you're getting paid $5-6 an hour. He knows you're gonna make your money by picking, and he's like, hurry up, or else you ain't gonna make that money. Hurry up, or you ain't gonna get nothing. Hurry up, or your check is gonna be there. And then when they give you the check, he's like, see, here's your check. Here's your $300 for all week because you couldn't pick fast enough. So when you come back the next week, you're like, damn, I gotta hurry my ass up. Man, that is unfair.
They
labor.
They turn the own against you.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's unfair labor to our own people. That's a shame that our own people, and here we go, where we say you can't be Mexican American. Because this is this is the results of loving your enemy. Go ahead, continue.
Come on, sir. An analysis conducted by researchers at the University of Washington in March 2020 found U.S. farm workers would experience an increase from about 21 days of working in unsafe temperatures per season to an average of 62 days. Heat waves have also become more common and intense over the past several decades, as the U.S. West Coast has experienced record-breaking heat waves this year. June 2021 was the hottest June on record in the United States. It's extremely hot out there and it's getting worse every year, said Nezahualcóyotl. That's Nahuatl, I guess.
Yeah.
So this brother has a Nahuatl name, I can't pronounce it. General Coordinator of the Farm Worker Association of Florida. One of the biggest problems is the way that farm workers are paid. When they are paid by the piece rate, that encourages workers to exert themselves even more. When they are part of a crew, the person who slows down because he has to take a water break or use the restroom, then they become the guy who slows down the crew. That's what you were talking about, sir.
Right.
Nice.
So they systemize it to where, if you work with a crew, brothers gonna get mad at you because you got to go to the restroom, you got to get water. So brother who's having a bad day, who's unbrotherly, gonna look at you like, man, this brother right here, man. And then it goes into so I'll go into it again. Death of a worker. The state of Washington recently announced emergency rules to provide heat protection for farm workers and other outdoor workers. Shortly after Oregon issued emergency rules in the wake of a farm worker who died from heat exposure during record high temperatures in the region, Sebastian Francisco Perez, a 38-year-old from Guatemala who was working at a tree farm in rural St. Paul, Oregon, died after collapsing on June 26. California and Minnesota are the only two other states in the U.S. with heat protections for workers. Through Colorado has some limited protections. Damn, so they've been doing this from the time when they got here, even to this very day.
Absolutely,
They've
absolutely.
been doing it. They're still doing it to this day.
You had something? Go ahead.
So, like, sir, I had a precept. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother.
Right. So this man, they're evil towards us, man. They have no compassion for us. They have no love. They have nothing that shows that they have. And yeah, the field workers, I believe that now it's $11 an hour, $11.50 an hour that they pay them. Dang. But that's $500 a week. And you're talking about you're living in places like Santa Cruz, Watsonville,
right,
where rent out there is, man, ridiculous. Right. You're paying over $1,500 for a 1-bedroom place out there.
Good,
you know what I'm saying? So it's ridiculous. Let me tell you something. The way that our people are treated is no joke, man. This is no joke, and we need to realize that this is the reason why we need to wake up. This is the reason why we need to get together. This is the reason why we have to do what we do by having these shows, right, by having the Inconvenient Truth, by doing what we do. You know what I mean? Coming up, Malakman?
Concert, like, you know what I mean? Like, this I'm gonna say this, man. We're not telling people who they are. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. The Bible's telling you who you are, man.
Right.
The Bible tells indigenous people who they are, man. We're just, showing what the scriptures say, man. You can either agree with it or you don't, man. We're not here to force this down your throat, man. We not, we're not the so-called white man. We're not here to, come and force you to convert. You can feel this and listen, or you could go ahead and move on, man, and find something that works for you, man. Shalom. Right. That's all I want to add. I don't want, you know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely. So when you think about it, man, what we need to do in a whole is prepare our children, man, because what's coming this year is not beneficial to us. What they plan to do with this whole new education, right, and this new school system, man, it's not for us. It's not to our benefit, right, as Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. It's something that we have to realize, that we have to educate our children here at home. We have to educate morally, so that they understand that when they go to school, they already have some kind of sense of whatever they're saying to them. To them, it becomes the message of this is wrong.
Right.
They already understand that whatever they're saying cannot be, what is being taught at home, or what I should bring home, because we're gonna have a challenge. There's a challenge coming. The school season is opening. The challenge is here. We need to come together as a people. God. And we need to show our children, what it is to be morally correct. You know what I mean? Because that's the only way that we're going to be able to change and break this chain of lies, right, that America has taught us.
Right.
Right? What you think?
I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's a heavy point, sir. You know what I mean? I'm gonna say this too. I want to add this, because what you dropped earlier was pretty heavy, man. Like, we stop calling yourself Mexican American, man. It's two conflicting, you know what I'm saying? Two conflicting identities, man. Like, right, you know how the so-called black man has African American, and that term makes no sense. Well, Mexican American makes no sense, right, when you actually break down the history of it, man. America never loved us, man. And no matter how hard, the fact, this is what I'm gonna say. The fact that you got deported veterans over, in Mexico right now, begging to come back to America, should be more of a reason to not call yourself Mexican American. Right. America does not love you, man. America does not have love for Mexicans. So instead of trying to win America's love, you should be trying to win that other Mexican's love, man. I'm gonna drop it like that, man. Brotherhood and sisterhood go a long way, man. And right, you know what? And all you Uncle Toms and sellouts out there, like, you blame the gangbangers, you blame the drug dealers, you blame all the cholos and the paisas for quote unquote making the raza look bad. Nah, man, it's not them that make the raza look bad. It's y'all. Y'all make the raza look bad, man. Y'all show that the raza has no backbone when you call yourself Mexican American.
Right.
When you want to vote for Donald Trump. When you want to love this place that shows constant hatred to you, and instead of standing up to it, you go and want to bow down and love them. You're the ones making them look bad, man. You're the ones making my people look bad. It's not the criminals in the camera. It's y'all. Y'all the reason for it. So I'm gonna just say that, sir.
Right, man. As always, man, you know that we're gonna come out here with this heavy truth, the inconvenient truth, right here, ISGPK California. You know we're always here to do it, and I just got one more thing to add before we end the program. It's already 10:13, but before we end the program, you know, for everybody who's still listening, I wrote this little ditty that I plan to, you know, say out there at my speeches out on camp. When I go out there, I always like to say something to, you know, stir up. You know, you know what I'm saying? I'm always down for it. So I got this little one, and it was a little poem that I made, you know, about not being Mexican American, and it's something we should remember, you know, for all my raza, para toda mi gente mexicana, para toda mi raza de aquí la chicana, you know, this is a reminder of why we should never ever cling to that word Mexican American. It goes like this: I am not Mexican American. Because when America was young, I gave it my hand, and in return, it gave me its fist. Because when I was hungry, I planted my seeds and irrigated it with my blood. Because when it was time for them to hunt, I became the prey. Because its history requires lies. Because their villains became heroes. Because the natural resources, my natural resources, became their wealth. Because my bones became the foundation of their cities. Because my soil was robbed of the elements that gave life. Because my rivers were poisoned by the need of its science. Because my air was contaminated by its corporate cloud. Because my wildlife was brought to extinction. Because my culture was buried in lies. I'm not Mexican American. Because it destroyed my people. And that's something we should all remember the next time someone tells you, man, I'm Mexican American. Man, this is Officer Kazakya, and I'm here with Malakma today, man. I thank everybody for joining us and watching the show, The Inconvenient Truth. As always, man, we got something special for everybody, man. You can always log in, ask questions, man. Questions are always valid. And if you have any kind of question, man, I always urge everybody, man, ask your questions. Let me get involved. Let me answer whatever question you may have, whatever doubt may be in your mind. You know what? That's what we're here for. We're here to help our brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? If you ain't in the ISUPK yet, man, I urge you to jump into the ISUPK, man. Get in black, you know, log into these classes, make yourself known, get yourself a name, more importantly, so that you may leave that they gave you. Because as long as you carry the name of your oppressor, you still being oppressed. It's time to change that, man. It's time to get yourself a real name. I'm Officer Kazayad, given to me for the strong work that I do in this truth. Most High in Christ for Commanding General Johanna. All the captains, all the officers, all the generals who have helped make a change, and all of us who have joined this place, man. We should make a change too. You should join with us. We should go out. We should do this work. We should call our people so that the next generation may look at us as those who made a change for our people. Man, Tawada for watching, Tawada for tuning in. Till next week, we're Officer Kazakyad and Malakma. Till next week, Shalom, Yahweh Ba, Shim Yahweh Shai Barakatah. Shalom, Israel.
Shalom, Israel.
Man, that's what's up.